The winter wind cut through the little frontier town like a knife, rattling shutters and carrying dust across the frozen road. Sunday bells rang from the white wooden church on the hill, calling families in their finest clothes to prayer. Boots, polished hats, straight faces, proud, everyone came to be seen. Everyone except the girl. She stood barefoot near the church steps, wrapped in a torn shawl too thin for the cold. Her dark hair fell in tangled waves around her shoulders, and her tired eyes carried more years than her small frame should have known. In her trembling hands she held nothing but hope. "Please," she whispered softly as people passed, "just a little bread." Most ignored her. Some stared. A few sneered. "Savage beggar," muttered one man under his breath. "She should go back to where she came from," said another. A group of boys laughed, tossing pebbles near her feet. One woman pulled her child closer, as if kindness itself were contagious. The Apache girl lowered her eyes. Hunger she could bear. Cold she could bear. But humiliation, that was the hardest. Still she did not leave. Because she had nowhere else to go. Her name was Apache. Only 3 days earlier she had watched the last of her people ride away under the fading sunset, leaving her behind, too weak from illness to travel, too alone to survive. She had walked for miles, guided only by instinct and fading strength, until the church bell led her here. She thought a house of God might show mercy. But mercy had been scarce. The church doors opened after the sermon, and warm laughter spilled out along with well-fed townsfolk. The smell of fresh bread and stew followed them, making Apache's stomach ache with sharp pain. She tried once more. "Please, just a little food." A tall man in a black coat stopped before her. His face twisted with disgust. "You people only know how to take," he said. "Move away from the church." Apache stepped back, her bare feet pressing into the frozen dirt. Tears burned her eyes, but she refused to cry. "Apache do not cry before those who hate them," her mother had once told her. Then came the thunder of hooves. Slow, steady, powerful. The sound silenced the crowd. From the far end of the road a massive black stallion approached, breath steaming in the cold air. Upon it rode a broad-shouldered man wrapped in a long brown coat, his hat low over sharp, watchful eyes. Dust swirled behind him like a storm following its master. Everyone knew him. Caleb Thornridge. The richest rancher in 3 counties, owner of endless land, feared by outlaws, respected by honest folk, and known for speaking little but meaning every word. His horse stopped near the church steps. His gaze moved across the crowd, then settled on the girl. Apache stood frozen, expecting anger, expecting rejection, expecting the same cruelty she had seen all morning. Instead, Caleb dismounted slowly. The townsfolk watched in silence. Boots crunching against frost, he walked toward her until he stood only a few feet away. Up close he could see the purple bruise of hunger beneath her eyes, the shaking of her thin shoulders, the courage she tried so hard to hide. "Where are your shoes?" he asked quietly. "Gone," she answered. "When did you last eat?" She hesitated. "I do not remember." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Caleb removed his thick leather gloves and tucked them into his belt. Then, without a word, he took off his heavy coat and gently placed it over her shoulders. Gasps rose from the watching townspeople. The coat swallowed her small frame in warmth she had not felt in weeks. Caleb looked toward the crowd, his voice calm but carrying the weight of thunder. "Any man who mocks the hungry has forgotten what it means to be human." No one spoke. The tall man in the black coat lowered his eyes. Caleb turned back to Apache. "Can you ride?" She nodded weakly. He lifted her carefully onto his horse as if she were something fragile and precious, then mounted behind her. Wrapping one arm steady around her so she would not fall, he took the reins. "Where are you taking me?" she whispered. "Home," he replied. And with that the richest rancher in town rode away, carrying the girl they had mocked and the shame they could not escape. Behind them the church bell rang again. But this time no one moved. Because sometimes kindness speaks louder than any sermon. And sometimes the strongest hearts are the quietest ones.